boys and girls, get ready.
You break it, we fix it. Simple as night and day. No problemo, if I say so. We'll fix it up right away.
Oh no! The cord's broken. Let's fix it. First things first. This big red guard is in our way because we need to get into here. So we're going to have to remove this big red guard, which, by the way, you'd need to remove to take the oil out, to change the oil as well. So you're going to need a 13 millimeter
ratchet,
as well as a wrench or some pliers to hold down the bolt on the top. Okay, now we've got all the bolts out and this big burly guard we can take off and put to the side. And so the next step is to remove the 3 small screws that hold in this screen right here. So I have removed these. We can now take this off. We want to make sure we don't lose any of these vital pieces. And then you're going to use a 10 millimeter to undo these bolts that hold in this red guard that's here on the very front of the engine. Once you get that off, then you've got this, which is actually where the rope lives. And so our next step will be getting the old rope out and putting the new rope in. Now with an 8 millimeter, we're going to undo this blue screw here. So now that we've got the blue screw loose, we're going to turn this whole part upside down and remove this. We've got some key pieces in here. This is the spring that makes it pull back after you start it. And then here we've got the screw and a spring. We just want to be very careful that we don't lose any of this. So now what we're going to do is tie or just pull out, if we have to, the old rope, and we're going to put in some fresh rope. Okay, we've got the blue screw back on. This thing is in place. We're going to wind it up counterclockwise so that spring...
Where's that spring?
It's inside of here. It's getting tight. We're going to get it pretty darn tight. I'm sure there's such a thing as too tight and you'll break it. And then we're going to hold that in place and we're going to feed our new cord through this hole.
What hole?
This little black hole.
Why little black hole?
Because that's what the string has to go through. Okay, if we can get it through here.
What is this thing?
That's the handle, but it's not time for the handle yet. Okay, we've got it through there. And then, maybe with a knife or a screwdriver, we're going to push that on through that red hole, pull it all through. We have a knot at this end. So now we want to keep this from bouncing back on itself yet. And then we need to feed this cord that we just put out through that red hole through this handle,
What handle?
through this little other piece of the handle. We're going to tie a knot.
Oh.
Got that knot? We're going to pull this closed. Going to get this little piece down into this larger rubber piece. And now, if we've done things right, we're going to let go, and it's going to, or we don't even have to let go, but we're going to let this wind it back up. Bingo, we've got it. So now, this now has tension on it. We're going to put this back here on the face. We're going to get our screws. First things first. Use these little shorties. Tie these back on. Okay, we've got this bolted back on. Now we're just going to pull this out a little jiff so we can slip this screen back on here. Get that nice and firm. And then we've got a few little holes here where we've got these screws that we want to use to hold this screen on place.
How are you putting that on?
I'm just screwing it right in.
Why didn't these work?
Okay, so now we've got all these little screws on here. This is feeling fairly stable. So now, before we put the guard back on, let's give it a little try.
Okay. Guard. Where's the guard?
My tools and I will always stay on call. We'll do any job that's big or small. When you need a handyman, I've got the master plan, and I never, ever, ever drop the ball.